no exaggeration to say that romantasy has taken the literary world by storm. And you can't have any conversation about romantasy without, of course, talking about the mother of all romance fantasy mashups, and that would be A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. But what made this book so different from the rest? What made it the hit that it was and still is to this day? I'm Elisa, lover of stories. I read, I write, and today I'm going to be discussing why the very first opening scene of A Court of Thorns and Roses sets us up for one of the biggest hits in the romantasy world. Sarah J Maas brilliantly uses foreshadowing in her book, but one of the most impressive uses of foreshadowing that I see actually shows up in the very first sequence of events in this story. Author Brandon Sanderson, known for doing the Wheel of Time series after Robert Jordan's passing, as well as the Stormlight Archives and Mistborn trilogy, has talked in length about the importance of promises and payoff when it comes to writing a compelling story. And it is this very thing that makes A Court of Thorns and Roses stand out. The sequence in and of itself doesn't seem like anything special, but it will set off the chain of events that will change her world as well as the Fae world forever. And it also sets up this beautiful foreshadowing that will be very important to understanding Feyre's character when we get to the climax of the story. The opening scene of this book doesn't seem all that exciting. We meet Feyre where she is hunting in the woods in winter in order to try and help her family survive. As she's waiting, looking for something to bring back to her family, she goes on and on and on about how much her family drives her crazy. Hunting is a risk. Sitting in the cold of winter is a risk. And facing a wolf for the doe that you're hoping to take home to your family is most definitely a risk. But she does it anyway. Not because Feyre enjoys danger or taking risks, but because Feyre feels a duty to protect and care for the people she loves. This is something we see consistently throughout the first portion of the book. She talks endlessly about how much her sisters annoy her, how much her father disappoints her, how she can't wait to be rid of them when they're all married off. And yet we also see time and time again her make decisions that benefit those that she truly loves. She continues to hunt instead of forcing her father to beg. She tells Nesta not to marry the Hale boy because she knows he will likely be abusive. And even as she faces a world of Fae creatures who she fears, she continuously worries about the well-being of her father and sisters. And it is through these choices that we come to understand two things. One, that Feyre is capable of loving difficult people. And two, if she loves those people, she feels a duty to care for and protect them. And this is something we see mirrored later on when we get to the climax of the book, and she is forced to make the decision to protect and care for Tamlin. Now, in the beginning of her journey, we see she is terrified of the Fae. She hates them. She blames them for much of the troubles in her life. And that is all due to misinformation. She doesn't understand their people or their ways, and she sees them all as evil and gruesome and trying to kill and eat humans. Later, when she is introduced to the Fae realm and she meets Tamlin and Lucian and many of the others, she comes to understand that they are just as worth protecting as humans. And it is this revelation and this understanding that she gains in her time spent with Tamlin and Lucian that she comes to feel love and the need and duty to protect those as well. Which is why it's not all that surprising that when we get to the end of the story, she's willing to go through the trials and the torture and the terror in order to protect those she loves. It is this promise we are made about Feyre in the beginning of the story, and the payoff of seeing that promise expand and connect with others who need her protection and her help, that make this story such a compelling character journey. We know she is capable of loving those who seem unlovable. We know she is capable of protecting those she loves. When we see her heart open to others, it feels rewarding because we know she's capable of loving them. And in her understanding and growing to care for them, we also see her develop as her own person and decide for herself what is true. Beauty and the Beast is already a beloved story, and the spins and twists that Sarah J Maas places on the original fairy tale make the story all that more interesting in a way that gives us the story that we know and love and feels comfortable and nostalgic, while also providing new twists and turns that keep the story interesting and engaging. But those are some of my thoughts on what makes A Court of Thorns and Roses the mother of all romantasy books, why it has such influence on a lot of the books we see coming out today. And I would love to hear your own thoughts about the novel. I breezed through this one. I finished the entire book in a single day and I ended up loving it. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I will see you all next time. Bye!